Perfect. Hey, sweet. Awesome. Perfect. Well, uh, we'll just go ahead and get right into it. So, welcome everyone who has joined us. If anyone has joined us so far, don't know. Let's see. Has anyone joined us? Perfect.
Yeah, one of them is me, though.
Perfect. Solid. Welcome. Welcome. Sweet. Well, that's enough people to have joined us. Welcome to Misty Mountain Legends, the campaign that is entitled Fowl and Friends. We are Fowl and Friends here. I am Luke, your DM, and these are the players. First up, we have Anna.
I'm Anna. I am playing Lyra, who is a Tiefling bard. And a fun fact about Lyra is that recently she's decided to go vegetarian. And the reason she's decided to go vegetarian is because Tyler, our fellow player, kills a lot of animals, and she felt like she needed to go vegetarian to make up for the death that he has wreaked upon the world. She hasn't shared this with anyone yet, but that's a fun fact about Lyra.
I'm Roxanne. I play Storm, who is a Centaur fighter / sorcerer, and she is afraid of heights, despite being 7 foot tall.
Hi, I'm Luke, and I play Tyler Trueshot, who is a foolhardy beast-slaying ranger, who, as Anna mentioned, has killed a great many animals. He's well known for being very strong and brutish in slaying beasts, but what he's not well known for, and yet is true, is he's actually very handle sewing needle. His mom imparted as a child sewing skills and leatherwork, and he knows his way around the sewing kit.
I'm going to interrupt real quick. There's a lot of people in the chat saying that everybody except for Luke is very quiet so far.
I am very loud, generally speaking.
Yeah, no one said anything about you yet.
I guess.
Yeah, I'm listening, but not hearing anything.
Might be an issue on my end.
Zeke, how do I sound now? Am I better?
Let's see.
How do we fix
Uh,
I moved my mic closer to me.
I think it's more on Luke's end.
yeah. That could be a thing.
Yeah, I'm not the loud one, turns out.
Okay, yeah. Athena says that I'm a little bit louder, but still pretty quiet compared to Luke, so that might be a setting on your side.
Yeah, I'm trying to find. I've turned everything up to the maximum.
Yeah, let's
Oh.
keep talking.
Yeah. That might help to be unmuted. I've turned everything up to the maximum that it will go. Let's see. Properties.
On OBS, there's not a setting for desktop audio to be put up.
That's exactly what I've adjusted. It's max, so I'm wondering. I know.
This is the first time I'm using the Google Meet, so I'm trying to see if there's like a setting that turns something up on my end.
Let's see. Maybe did that? Nope. That actually turned everything off. Okay. Well, I apologize.
Players this session need to do everything in sign language.
Everyone fun fact is now we know sign language, I guess.
Surprise. I guess, honestly, y'all just have to speak loudly as best as you can.
All that I noticed was background noise, like staticky. Athena, can you tell whose screen that's coming from?
Yeah, let's see if I mute myself.
You can still hear it. You can still hear it? Okay. Let me try disconnecting mine and like see if maybe that's an issue. I'm only allowed to speak in Thieves' Cant from now on, apparently.
Yeah.
Let me know if the audio, if the static went away.
So, Luke, it looks like you are muted, or you're not muted in the stream when you are muted in the. So just permanently mute yourself in the stream.
Yeah, that's it. I just am about to do that.
Okay.
In the stream, is there an option to change
gone. I guess everybody go around and now it's back.
Is there a way to change the source in the stream to the audio for Google Meet, or is it currently set for the audio for your computer itself?
Oh, wait.
Yeah. No, the issue
Okay.
was the headphones, the earbuds I got. That was the issue.
Okay.
So,
Cool. That fixed everything then.
yes. Yes.
Will people be able to hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah. 100%
I
better.
think so. I guess we gotta do
Yeah.
intros again.
Okay.
From the top.
Perfect.
All right.
Make it drop.
In the chat. Good job.
From the top,
That's
make
so
it
wet.
drop.
That's so wet.
All right. All right. Let's restart. So yes, chat. I apologize. Sorry for the inconvenience, but welcome. We'll go ahead and start again with Anna again. We'll go ahead and just restart with.
Yeah, I think
No, we'll start from me, do the whole thing over, and we will cut out that first part for what we post on YouTube,
Yes.
so people don't have to watch through us strictly.
Yes.
All right, so I'm Anna, and I'm playing Lyra, who is a Tiefling bard. And my fun fact about Lyra is that she is a vegetarian, and she's recently become a vegetarian since meeting Tyler Trueshot, because she is very concerned by the amount of animals that he has killed, and she wants to make up for the death that he has wreaked upon the world by doing her part to not eat meat. And somebody asked in the Twitch if he is wearing a cape, and yes, Tyler Trueshot is wearing a cape.
I'm Roxanne. I'm playing Storm, who is a Centaur fighter. She's also multi-classed as a sorcerer, and she is afraid of heights despite being 7 feet tall.
Hey, I'm Luke, and I play Tyler Trueshot. And Tyler is a foolhardy, beast-slaying ranger, and though he is well known for his very heroic beast slayings, he is less well known for the fact that he actually is handy with a sewing needle, and his mother imparted a lot of knowledge of sewing to him, and so that's kind of his little secret hobby.
I think that's me. Is it? Okay.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Deanna. I am playing the wood elf rogue Isira, who is known as Is. I am a little mischievous, a little sticky-fingered, and my fun fact is that my favorite food is goodberry jam.
And I am Dolf. I'm AJ,
who is playing Dolf Fitzgerald, who is the chill order cleric halfling. And my fun fact for Dolf is that he's very into yoga without doing the yoga. Like he's all about people doing yoga and everything, but he'll just sit there and just be chill and listen
Yoga
to. He's a yoga fan. He's not a yoga participant, but he's a yoga fan.
He views it as a spectating sport?
No, he'll close his eyes during the whole yoga experience.
Oh, okay. So he just wants
He likes to
listen to yoga? Like,
yeah, he
quiet
likes to be
shuffling.
he likes to be part of like the whole process of yoga without actually doing yoga.
Likes being near yoga.
In
Near
the
yoga.
same room, but he doesn't watch.
Oh my.
Oh, he definitely has yoga pants though. He definitely dresses for the occasion, but he will just sit there and kind of meditate.
Or
Yes.
is he napping? Does he just find it a good place to nap?
Yes.
I love
Yes.
the idea of someone doing yoga and then this little dwarf comes up and is like, "Do you mind if I sit near you?" While you do, I won't watch.
His dexterity is -1, so he's not really good at yoga. He's tried it, but he's not good at it.
He's just vibing.
He's just vibing.
Last time he did it, he broke his leg, and it was very awkward.
It was not great.
Oh my gosh. Well, perfect. That is all the players. And so we can just go ahead and hop right in to the adventure once again. So, last we left off, all of our heroes had entered into the offices of Curd and Carp Incorporated. They needed to talk to Mr. Carp about something that had been stolen from him, as they are trying to acquire funds to pay off their rent at the church, or temple, I call it, the temple that they are staying in currently with Lord Quackers as their god. And so they're helping the guards of the city to find out who the thieves who have been going around and stealing things from various people, and trying to figure out who they are and retrieve everything so that they can get the reward money. So to get into the office buildings, they had impersonated themselves as Madame Cuzzle the Great and her entourage, and they had just walked into the threshold of the office of Mr. Carp. And so that is where we pick up now. As you stand in the threshold to the office, you see a large desk, fairly empty of anything aside from a couple books, a candle, and a little stack of papers. But behind the desk sits a tall, half-elf man. He's reading a book, and as you enter, he looks up, sets his book down, and says, "Can I help you?"
Madam Kazul, I believe he's speaking to you.
Oh yeah, totally. Yeah, I'm Madame Gazul, and we're here. I'm here escorting my entourage because they want to take on your case.
My case? And Madam Cuzzle, I was under the impression that Madam Cuzzle was a dwarf.
Did you say fourth or divorced?
Dwarf, a dwarf.
And I suppose you were under the impression that Madame Causel was also a woman. Sometimes you get your facts wrong now, don't we?
Oh, I don't judge.
Don't assume gender.
And don't assume race. It's like,
Well, anyways, I wasn't expecting you for some time. But welcome. But what case are you talking about? We were to discuss having a sort of beneficial relationship between our two companies.
Yes. That can be taken care of later. But there are rumors going around that certain things have been missing in this part of town.
As you say that, he kind of draws back into his chair and leans back a little bit, and seems a little annoyed that you know that information, as if that's not something he really wanted to share. But he says, "How did you hear about that?"
Oh, you know how city guards are. They can't keep their mouths shut after a couple of drinks.
Yes, I do know. I do know how city guards are.
But as business people, I know that we want to keep these under wraps. My people will not spread this information. But these people here are very capable at solving cases.
Go ahead and make a persuasion check for me.
Oh boy, great. Ooh, that's not great.
As he's saying that, I'm like busying myself looking like I'm solving a mystery in the office.
Give me a performance check.
That's a solid 12.
You know
Can
what?
I
That
make
is
Check
exactly
to,
what you're
make
going to need.
myself look especially capable.
17.
17. All right. Tyler, give me a performance check as well.
Oh my god.
That's a 10.
All right. So seems to be very capable. Seems like she knows what she's doing. Tyler, you stand there and you're fairly imposing, but you kind of look like you walked in to the women's restroom on accident a little bit, and you're now just kind of confused as to why you're here. But you still look fairly imposing.
I kind of whispered to him as like, he's new.
Yes, but with your persuasion check, Mr. Karp sighs, and he stands up, and he walks over to the door, and he grabs one of the workers that happens to be walking by, and he whispers something in their ear. And that worker goes off, presumably to fetch something. And then Mr. Karp turns around, comes back to his desk, sits down, and says, "Well, we don't like to talk about it too much. It was a shame how easily they got into our security systems. We only had the most intensive and unbreakable locks, and somehow they got through all of them without leaving a trace."
Yes, I was very surprised that an establishment such as yourself had even gotten broken into, since I've heard so much about the security system.
Yes, it was incredibly unfortunate, and none of my men or anyone in this city can figure out how they did it. I mean, you'll see what I mean in a moment. My helper will come back shortly, but it's been a sad time since it was stolen about a couple of weeks ago. My company has suffered greatly. That's actually why I wanted to meet with you, as with the loss of what was stolen has hurt us.
And we haven't been told what was stolen. The gods weren't so keen on telling us that much.
Yes. Well, it is a bit of a complicated thing. And at that moment, the worker that he had talked to walks back into the room, holding a box, about yay big, a good size. And it's kind of weird looking, but he hands it to Mr. Carp, and Mr. Carp says, "Oh, thank you. You can go now. But this is the box that it was in. Now, what they stole was called the Antikytherum. It is essentially a mechanism that was created by my company, and it allowed for the predictions of the moon and the stars when they align with the oceans, giving us insight to when the best times for fishing and sailing are. That is the reason that my company has had such great success. It was used every day, and it dictates the ships that go out and at what time. Without it, we've had a severe downgrade in quality and quantity of fish to provide for this city. But that is what was stolen. And how they got into this box, I will not know.
Could you describe what this antikytherum looked like?
Yes, it looks very strange. It's got a couple of gears on both sides that would interact with each other, and there's various ports where looks like a telescope going in one side, but there's no exit to it, and so it's like this strange, almost spherical thing with gears all around the outside. But one handhold that comes out at the bottom. So it's almost like a surveyor's mechanism. You look into it, but there's no exit for it. So that's the best I could describe it. And how about y'all go ahead and just give me just a quick investigation check.
Try different dice. Ooh, I forgot my investigation on this character is not great. Ooh, still not great. That's a nat 1.
Ooh.
I also nat 1.
-2, -1.
Ooh.
Nice.
Mine's at a
I got
10.
a 14.
14. All right.
I also got a 14.
I got a dirty 20.
Hey. All right. So pretty much everyone aside from Dolf. It wasn't a hard check. But
I'm just like,
y'all see that the box itself, when it was just being moved around and carried, you could tell like it just was kind of looked weird. Like it looked like the wood was not very well made. But looking at it now, you see there's actually carved into it are very strange runes. And they seem to be like interweaving, like each rune's connected to the next one, and it seems like a mesh of nonsense at first, but the more you look at it, the more it makes sense, as if it flows across the box like a chaotic ocean.
Question.
Yes.
I know I got a -1, but if I look at it again, can I tell if it looked did we see the runes from the rune crafter from the blacksmith? Or was that specifically on the sword?
That was specifically on the sword.
Okay, so my question to this person is then, did you perhaps get this security box, the runes written on here, were they from the Lady of the West?
The lady of the West?
The rune crafters.
Oh yes, they're from the rune crafters. Yes, for certain. It's an older box that was handed down to me from my grandfather when he had a close friend who was part of the rune crafters. But it is an unbreakable box. It cannot be broken. It cannot be opened by any other means except by my hands. And that's why it is amazing that these thieves managed to get into this box.
Is it by your hand or by the presence of your blood by chance?
Specifically my hand. Like the way it works is my grandfather passed it down to me, skipped over my father, because my father was a terrible man. But when he gave it to me, he specifically he knew how to transfer ownership of the box to the next person. So it's a long and tiresome story, but essentially it physically requires my hands upon the box to open.
And only one person can have ownership of the box at a time?
Yes. Again, that is why it is. I mean, the whole how they got to there to begin, how they got in the building is beyond me. Because I mean, the guards that night they did not see anything, and they made it clear they made their normal rounds without seeing anyone enter and exit the building. The only thing that made it clear that it was in fact stolen, aside from the fact that it was missing, was a small strip of leather with the words "Thanks" written on it that was sitting on my desk.
Hmm.
That's the only lead we have.
That piece of parchment.
Yes, I do. And he opens up a drawer and he pulls out a strip of leather about yay long, about that thick, and it just has in common the words "Thanks."
I would like to sniff it because I sniffed the original letter that was written to the guy, and the ink had a distinct smell.
Yes.
And I'd like to see if the handwriting looks like it's the same handwriting.
All right. Both of you go ahead and make perception checks.
13.
19.
18. All right. Well, Lyra, it has a very faint smell that seems similar, but it just really just smells like leather for the most part, and you can't really tell if that's just residue from when you sniffed the parchment last, or if it's actually similar. But Storm, the handwriting is identical.
Would you mind if I kept this?
Sure, go right ahead. We've done everything we can with it. It didn't do anything for us.
You are familiar with what happened to Mr. Blacksmith, right?
Yes, I heard he was the last unfortunate soul to have something of great importance stolen from him.
It
I would
seems-
say what he had stolen from him is of far greater value than my Antikythera.
Well, I mean, that's debatable because yours promotes your business, which then rises the equity of your own business.
Well, yes, but he had multiple runes put onto the sword that he made.
Yes.
And that is, the runes themselves cost more than this entire company's worth currently.
How do you know about the sword?
Don't you worry about that. I know a few things in this town.
We business. I look at we business folks. We know.
Yes.
but-
Madam Cuzzle the Great understands me.
Can I do an insight check?
Sure.
22.
Whew.
I'm lying for sure.
Well, yeah, that was pretty evident. But with that, you can definitely tell that he's being pretty sketchy. Like, he definitely has some way of knowing, and he's telling the truth about him having knowledge of such things, but he's definitely being vague on purpose. You can tell that for sure.
Okay.
Might I ask where you were the night that this was stolen? I mean, if your hands were needed for this, like, is it possible that someone possessed you?
Nope. I was at home sleeping. I was with my family, and my wife is a light sleeper. She would have woken if I had gotten out of bed.
Well, it seems that these two cases have similar incidences in which there's single person having control over opening and closing the cases in which the objects are inside, and they both seem to relate both to the rune crafters.
I
Dolf?
think perhaps we need to find out who exactly the rune crafter was that was involved in both of these situations. I know the box is rather old, but people live for a long time. Do you happen to know who exactly crafted these runes?
On this particular box, I know it was a rune crafter from somewhere. It was one of their top rune crafters. As I said, it was a close friend of my grandfather, so I imagine they might still be alive. They would be considerably older, but I'm not sure. I know the name. It started with something. What did it start with? I believe it was Joe. It's been years. I have not seen him since my grandfather passed away. Joe Brieth. That's what it was. Joe Brieth.
Joe Brienne?
Joe Brieth.
Joe Briette.
Could you potentially spell that?
Yes, it is spelled Jobieth.
Mm-hmm.
Do you happen to remember what race Jobieth is?
He was a full elf. I believe he was a wood elf. I can't remember. He was. Yeah, I know he was elf of some nature. So it's very possible that he is still alive. But he was very old when I knew him, so I can't say for sure. But anyways, enough with that. I know what we came here to do, and we need to talk business.
Yes, business. I'm sure we can figure all this out. My people will be contacted with your people. We'll figure everything out. And it was great. It was great having this conversation with you.
It was very good having this. But I thought that is why you came here, so we could talk.
Don't worry. We will get in contact with you for even more details very, very soon.
Go ahead and give me another persuasion check real quick.
Lyra adds, the way we do business is we have a meeting about having a meeting, and then we have a meeting.
Bureaucracy.
But rest assured, we get business done.
Does that mean I can roll?
That's a dirty 20 for me.
That's perfect. I was going to give you advantage, but yeah, no, that's perfect. Convince him. He says, "Well, all right. I'll be expecting a letter and a message of some sort."
Oh, don't worry about it. I'm sure we will be in contact very soon. Don't worry about that.
All right. Well, thank you so much. And if you have any information about my stolen object, please let me know. If this group of capable people is as capable as they say they are, and as you say they are, then I hope to have it back
100%.
in my hands soon.
I will be sure to inform you.
And with that, he stands up and he gives you all just a very small bow, and he motions to the door.
All right, let's get out of here, guys. Let's go before the real one shows up.
Everyone just hears my voice in their mind go, I like this guy.
Perfect.
Mr. Cup, just before we go, one more question.
Yes.
As you seem to be quite knowledgeable about what's going on around this town, have you heard of anyone else who was stolen from recently?
Well, it was about a month ago. I know something was stolen from the museum. That's about all I know.
Thank you. Have a wonderful day, and we will be in contact.
Thank you. I'm looking forward.
Also another thing. Have you heard of the Church of Quackers?
No, I can't quite say I have. What is?
I suggest going to one of their services.
Well, I'm already a member of the Church of the Duck God, but the Chicken God. But I will maybe I will maybe do that. And without an insight check, you can totally tell he's lying. He will absolutely not be doing that.
I can tell you for a fact, Lord Quackers, very personable.
I'll take your word for it. And again, he motions for the door.
And as I'm walking away, I just whisper to everyone in their head is like, all it takes is planting a seed. You keep on planting the seeds, and then they will come.
Oh, I love it.
Let's go.
A breadcrumb trail, if you will.
To walk out the door.
Perfect. So as you leave, after all that, as you leave the building, the guards once again nod at you and they kind of check off on the clipboard where you found the name. And a little while, about 15 feet later, you pass by a very well-dressed dwarven lady with 3 dwarven guards flanking her. And they walk up to the guards at the door, and she says, "I am Madame Kozel. I'm here for my appointment with Mr. Cobb." And you hear the guard say, as you're walking away, what? And if you, as one of you all look back, the guards, both of them, look at all of you with mouths wide open just as you turn the corner and are gone from sight.
I'm just like, toodle.
Oh,
Oh, God. All right.
What do y'all do now?
That
Maybe we should
that
get a
went
little.
well. That went well.
Now, shall we go to the river, Tyler? I believe we have a competition that should be handled before we move on to the museum.
We might not want to stick around here for now.
A fair point.
Because of the
for
situation.
Yeah.
Then to the museum?
I
Sure.
think that's a good
Yeah.
step.
So it's very weird that this thief needs to have. I'm beginning to suspect that this thief or this conglomerate of thieves are used to be or studied under the rune crafters at some point.
I believe you're
Because-
correct, but I think there's
'cause
one
this
step
is-
further. I think the runes crafters have told their customers that the only way to get into this secure building or box is through their hands or their blood, giving them a false sense of security. And in reality, perhaps a master runes crafter has kind of a backdoor key,
Well,
and that key has been stolen. Or perhaps the rune crafter themselves are the ones involved.
So, out of character question, the runes crafter was
putting runes on the sword, but I don't think there was runes on like protecting the sword, or was there?
There was something with his, like the whole shop, that only his blood
Right.
could unlock the shop.
Right,
Yeah.
but that wasn't a runes crafter thing, was
no,
it?
that was not. That was a different magic spell that was done.
Okay.
That was
Yeah.
the royal magician, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
But the answer to your question, Anna, the protection that was on the sword is he didn't really mention anything that was on the sword of a rune specifically protecting the sword.
Yeah, I'm just like I didn't think it's not like the runes crafter was protecting the sword, they were making it stronger or whatever. So
Yeah.
it wasn't necessarily the runes that were used to get to the sword to steal it, is what I'm trying to say.
Yes.
Yeah. But it is suspicious that there's 2 incidences of using
Right.
of the rune crafters with the things that involve the rune crafters.
Mhm. I agree.
Right, and it's very odd that the blood of the blacksmith was needed and the hands of Mr. Carp were needed. Is it Lord Carp? Mr. Carp?
Mr. Kirk.
Mr. Carp. So that's 2 very like specific things where only they could do it. Obviously they did not. So who would have the ability to like overcome that kind of protection?
I think perhaps we should head to the museum, and if that seems to follow the trend, I think it would be time to visit the rune crafters ourselves.
Right. Yes.
Player Anthony can figure it out. Dolf cannot.
We also need to see about the Duke. I'm trying to
Yeah,
remember.
the sword was originally for the Duke's son.
Right.
Correct.
Yeah.
And there's also something to do with the races. Like they're all connected through these horse chariot races, right?
Yeah. Because the Carps are like big purveyors of the chariot races.
Right.
And so is the Duke, and so is yeah. Everyone also seems to be involved in that, but they're like illegal chariot races. So
Mhm.
I mean, that's probably where the most information gets traded.
mhm.
You all kind of got the idea that a lot of the higher ups of the city, even though the chariot races are deemed illegal, a lot of the higher ups, the more powerful people in the city, all have their hand in the chariot races in some fashion.
Hmm.
So,
So
at least that's the suspicion you got.
Yeah. As we are on our way to the museum, I'm just like, so who am I impersonating next? So like,
Does anyone know where the museum is?
Yeah, I was
I'll-
just looking at the map.
yeah, I also don't know where the museum is.
Let me.
Just like wandering.
All right. Boom. Presenting the map. So y'all.
A true shot.
The museum is in the old quarter. If you see, it's that massive building that is right there. I always forget how to. Yeah, that one. Exactly. So.
Yeah, you got to switch to the selection tool,
And
the viewing tool.
Ah, yes.
where are we right now?
Y'all are in number
We're in
7 in
Coldport.
Westport.
Oh,
Oh,
Westport.
no, Coldport. You're right. I apologize.
Okay, so we have a little ways to go. We're probably following this road.
What's in the South District? Like, is there anything specific in the South District that we should know of?
Well, in the Copper Crest, that's where the blacksmith shop was. And Baker's Court, you passed by there, but there's not a whole lot there aside from a whole lot of restaurants and baker shops. And number 7 is just another port. Again, y'all haven't been in the city super long, and it's a fairly good sized city. So there's not really anything of note that you would know about at this moment.
All right, cool. So let's just go to the museum.
Okay.
All right.
And try to duck any guards that may look at us funny.
Yes. Perfect. All right. So you make your way down to the museum. And, as you're going through town, it's a little after midday at this point. So y'all have had a very busy morning of trying to convert people who have wandered into the temple, and then talking to the blacksmith, and then talking to Mr. Carp. Had a very busy morning.
We need pamphlets. Do we have pamphlets?
I think we did. I feel like we were handing them out.
Yeah. I'm definitely handing out pamphlets.
Yeah.
I have bread. I can hand out.
No.
I thought we told you to leave the bread in the church.
It's been carrying around this whole time.
Oh, you meant leave all the bread?
Yeah, we already established last episode that the bread was really hard, like rock
I
solid.
thought you just meant the bread in my arms, not the bread in my pants.
Tyler, were you going to give our god
Bread
bread?
Pants bread? Yeah, what's the matter with pants bread?
Eat it, Tyler. Eat the pants bread.
No.
Say goodbye.
Good. It's good bread.
No, I need to know. Where do you just have these big pockets that like these loaves of bread were just chilling in, or like did you just like stuff them in your pants as best as you could?
Like they're under my cape, tucked into like the back of my pants.
It's not bread.
No.
So yes, you eat the bread, and it's
Butt bread.
kind of
also known
dank. It's not pleasant.
No.
Yeah. It's butt bread, also known as hot cross buns.
Hot cross buns. Nice.
I would not use the word hot in this situation.
I mean, they were under his cape.
It's pretty warm under there, from what I heard.
They're toasted, that's for sure.
Do you see that cape? There's some fur on that.
Yeah.
I can run down for many things, including my hot buns.
Lyra's like on the side of the road.
So now Lyra is also gluten free.
Yeah, I immediately had a gluten allergy for life. Like,
So even though the bread was, as you described, dank, he hides the fact that it's dank and gross and just like pretends there's nothing wrong with it. And
Can we roll insight against that?
Go ahead and make. You're gonna roll a deception check.
So who's
Wow, I
rolling
got
up?
that one.
Tyler, go ahead and give me a deception check against their insight check.
Okay, I got a 13 for my insight.
I got a 19 deception.
Wow.
All right, did anyone roll a 19? All right, so you all believe it's still fine. You all still think the butt bread's fine and like it's not gross.
Wonderful.
So I would like to mage hand legerdemain some butt bread, and no joke, after you said, did anyone roll a 19? I rolled a 19 plus my modifier, which is a 29.
Oh my gosh. He has more insight.
All right, so
Your
yes.
modifier is a 29?
No, my modifier is a 10, so that's a 29 total.
All right, so you are very much aware that he is lying about the butt bread being good.
No, that was a sleight of hand.
Oh, sleight of hand. All right, no, never mind then. Yes, perfect.
Oh.
I mean, unless you can beat a perception with against the 29 sleight of hand.
Sorry, 29 was the perception, or 29
was the sleight of hand?
Or sleight of hand. So she stole the bread thinking it's good.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, got it.
No.
The bread from my hand or the bread from my pants?
Your pants?
Okay.
All right.
You do it, then.
I'm not gonna eat it. I'm gonna feed it to Cass.
Oh,
my owl.
Yes. So you do you feed it to Cass?
Is he okay?
He immediately drops down. I'm kidding. No, he just like you feed it to him and he goes and he immediately spits it out, and gives you a dirty look like you just tried to kill him. Like, how could you?
I just look at the bread like, and I shrug and I just toss the bread to the side of the street.
God.
Tyler falls behind and just picks up that bread.
You didn't see that. I had a 29.
To pick up the bread and whack him with it.
I thought I saw you throw the bread.
Oh gosh. I love it. I love it. Oh man. All right.
We reached the museum.
I kind of scritched Cass underneath the chin and go, "Sorry, buddy."
Oh, perfect. Well, sweet. So as you after that interaction, at about this point, you've made it to the center square, and you see the museum, and it's definitely one of the biggest buildings in the city. It's massive. It's quite the hotspot for tourists. It's a very magnificent building. It has some golden arches out front that just kind of loop a little bit. Kind of look like almost like vines as they come down in the twirl. Very elegant. And there's a lot of people going in and out. And so, what do y'all do?
Before we go in, to not pretend to be a dwarven business entrepreneurs.
The museum's just a public place, right? We can just go in, right?
I was just about to walk right in.
Yes,
Yeah, that's not bad.
I'm assuming we're going to have to speak to somebody, a guard or perhaps the owner of the museum, to find out what was stolen and the details of that.
I feel like what we need to do is we need to go buy some guards and just be like, can't believe they still haven't caught the people who stole the stuff a month ago. And then the guards will hear it. They know, they're like, oh, they must be in the know.
If you know, you know.
You know. And
You don't know what you don't know.
And you don't know what you don't know. So you know what they know.
Yeah, you know what you know. Okay.
I don't know.
Lyra is also very confused.
I can confirm. Looking at my 7 modifier, Dolf does not know.
Oh my god.
Oh,
I'll tell you what I do know is I'm tired of sitting on the sidelines, and I'm a handle this one.
All right.
So I'm gonna walk into the museum. Says, I heard there's been a robbery.
Hey,
all right,
this is
wait.
gonna be good, and I follow him.
So you just
No.
walk in. I want to get the scene right. You just walk into the front entrance of this massive museum, and just loudly proclaim, "I've heard there's been a robbery."
Yes.
Oh no.
Okay. All right. Who all? Okay, so who all went with him? Who all went with him?
Not me.
I went right behind him.
Not me. I'm gonna let him deal with this on his own.
I'm backing him up.
You won't believe this one. I'm just, well, I'll jump in when he needs us.
I'm just like, yeah.
Storm can't imagine missing this because she knows he's gonna do something dumb. So she followed.
Okay. All right, perfect.
Or if everyone's following,
She's here for the chaos that he's about to bring down upon himself.
I'm not
I will
like
follow.
I walked in, but I didn't walk in with him.
Right. Yeah. So I want to be in there to watch this, but I want to blend in with the other people so no one knows that I'm
What?
actually
Robbery?
Yeah.
They're Tyler walked in posing, and I'm right behind him, posing with him, yeah.
Storm's going to pretend that she's not with them, that she's just walking into the museum. So she walks behind them and
Perfect. So, as you say, I heard there's been a robbery. A lot of people, everyone, within about 100 feet of you, kind of stops and looks at you, what? And everyone looks very confused. But lo and behold, after you say that, a couple seconds go by, a very well-dressed human woman walks up to you and says, "What do you mean there's been a robbery?" And she looks very serious.
Hello, human woman.
No.
Well, you see, I heard there's been a robbery. About a month ago?
Quiet. Come with me. And she grabs you and she motions for a couple guards to grab Iz as well, and they start dragging both of you somewhere else.
Storm's going to follow them.
All right.
I'm gonna incite some chaos a little bit.
Oh no.
I'm following with Storm. I'm with Storm.
All right.
I'm just a robbery in this establishment.
As soon as you say that, the same human woman hears you and motions for more guards to grab you and pull you along too. And everyone else is just kind of looking and very confused, but just kind of doesn't know what's going on. But they lead so the three of you who are being grabbed by guards and being led down. You're kind of walked through.
As they're pulling me out of the room with all the people, I see the concerned people. I yell back, "Don't worry, I'll handle it."
No, there's a couple people in the crowd that are like, "Man, that guy seems like he knows what he's doing." They kind of give you a thumbs up, almost like they're a little impressed.
And those people rolled a nat 1 on their insight check.
Can I cast thaumaturgy to get a little breeze to go past his cape so it blows up and they can see the bread sticking out of his head?
Yes, but I'm gonna have you make an attack with that, just using your spellcasting attack modifier.
Okay.
It's not gonna do any damage. It's just going to it's for accuracy.
Okay, I have to look at what my spellcasting is. Hold on 1 second. Okay. So 24.
All right. Yes. No, they absolutely succeed. Tyler, your cape flies up above you over your head. And how many loaves of bread did you just have sticking out of your butt part of your pants?
I would say around 6.
-1.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. So about all right. So yes, true is stolen. So about 5. You have 5. One that has a bite taken out of it. And the guards who are walking behind you
got
with
a glimpse of my buns.
No.
Tyler isn't the least bit ashamed.
so the guards that are holding Iz and Dolf are like immediately are like and like are just very confused. And some of them like pull your cape back down, but they also remove the bread and they throw it in the trash.
That's fucking good bread.
No, and they do, and they come up and say, "No food allowed in the museum."
Makes sense. Fair.
Okay.
That's fair.
I didn't know the rules. I get it. Okay.
But they lead the 3 of you who are being escorted by guards through the museum and kind of back into what's clearly like employees only kind of section. And they sit you down in like what looks like a back room exhibit. Like, like those rooms in museums where it's dark and there's like a TV and there's little bleachers to watch like a little presentation.
Yeah.
It looks like that, except without the TV. There's just like there's like a
beauty room.
Yeah, it's like there's a little stage up there. So clearly they would do presentations, but in the more like literal theater form.
Okay.
Now, Lyra and Storm, are y'all walking in, or y'all just like listening on the outside, or what are y'all doing?
I mean,
Lyra,
did the
do you
guards
think-
let us get that far?
Well,
mean,
if
we're
are you
following
trying to
right?
enter into the employees only section? Are y'all trying to get in there?
Oh.
I mean, we can
Lyra,
leave
do
our
you
mind.
think we should follow
Will
them
you
in.
associate with me or not?
Can you say that again, Storm?
Would you think we should stay out here or follow them in? I don't necessarily trust Tyler entirely to make the best decisions when it comes to communicating with that very stern-looking woman.
Yes, I just don't know if it's worth associating with them at this point at all. They may have ruined our chances getting good information. We might need to try on our own.
I think that might be the best idea. You and I,
This rational folk.
yes, you and I shall find another guard to speak to privately.
Yes, that sounds like a good idea.
Perfect. All right. So we'll come back to you two. But right now, you 3 have been sat down, and you haven't been chained up or like cuffed or anything. You've just been sat down, and there's guards. There's now just about 2 beside each, like on each side of the row that you're sitting in.
Are
The
we
rest,
sat in the front row, like in front of the stage?
yes.
Ooh, front row seats.
Station?
I mean, it's literally like, a very small room. It's like a 10 by 10 with like a 5-foot stage, like very small.
I realized we were getting a show. I sure wish I had my bread with me.
So, that very intimidating human lady walks up on the stage and looks at all 3 of you, and she crosses her arms, and she just stares at the 3 of you with just kind of a lot of disdain, just like,
What seems to be the matter?
how did you find out about the robbery?
Quackers Investigative Industries at your service.
What? What?
You heard him. Quackers Investigative Industries. We're here to help and to find the missing thing.
She just rubs her
Yeah.
temples, just like, not.
Look. We are investigating the many different robberies going on around here. Okay. We are aware that you had been robbed a month ago. We are aware that, as you are aware of, that the cod place has been robbed about, a week ago? And also that the blacksmith has been robbed from. So, we've technically been hired by the blacksmith and consulting with the cods. So, if you would help us further our investigation, it would be helpful.
Help us help you.
And then you help us.
Help you.
Help us.
Okay.
I'll help.
Okay. Go ahead and give me a persuasion check. All three of you.
Oh, okay.
That's 14 from me.
All right.
10.
That's a dirty 20.
Nice.
Okay. She seems. Her demeanor changes to a little more relaxed, still annoyed, but seems to believe what you're saying is true. Like she might need some more convincing in some fashion, but she says, "I assume that Mr. Karp told you that something was stolen from here. If you've already spoken to him."
I guess we've consulted with him.
Well, if you are truly investigating things that have been the stolen objects around the city, what do you plan to do when you find out? I need to know more information before I trust you with the information about what was stolen.
Well, I mean, we're going to find the items and then give them back to you guys, obviously. I mean, what else is there to do with them?
That's what heroes do. We find stuff and then we give it back to the people that it was stolen from, and then everyone thinks we're amazing.
Because we are.
And we do it in Lord Quacker's name.
All right.
Yeah.
One
All
more
for Quacker.
persuasion check. This one will be much easier. So as long as y'all don't roll once.
18 this time.
14.
That is going to be a 25.
All right. Very well. Is it just the three of you?
No. There's more of us.
We had 2 friends.
They're conducting a different investigation.
Okay.
They're going about it a different front.
Okay. Did they walk in with you into the museum?
Quacker's investigative industry is it's a big thing. And it's a lot of
It's a lot of us.
It's an industry.
At this point, can Lyra, I forgot that we can speak telepathically to each other. So I would like to check in and be like, "Hey guys, are you still alive in there?"
Yeah, we
what's
got
going
this.
on?
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about us.
And then I non-telepathically, just with my voice, say, "Yeah, this is going well."
Hearing Tyler say that out loud and in my mind, I guess.
No, you definitely did not hear it in your mind.
Oh, okay. Cool.
No, Dolf definitely says it in his mind, we totally got it. We're fine.
In my mind, I return and say, "I don't know, guys. They took Tyler's bread. I think he's starting to lose his marbles.
Lyra, I think
Now,
perhaps.
was that like a direct message? Tell them. Like, did I hear this?
Yes.
Yes, I
You heard that.
You said I'm losing my marbles?
Yes.
And then I once again say out loud, not in my mind, I'm fine.
Storm in her mind is going to ask, and she's going to specifically say, literally anyone but Tyler. Should Lyra and I come in there as well?
I feel like you guys can do some questionings of the ground while we question our client. And I heavily put quotation marks around client.
Now, I'm curious. I'm curious what the lady is doing while we sit here. Except for when Tyler says things like, "It's going well," and "I'm fine."
For that, because this entire conversation y'all been having is in your heads, and so therefore not verbal except for Tyler. So y'all have been sitting here for like now about a minute, not speaking except for Tyler occasionally saying, "It's going great," and "I'm fine." And so she's very concerned now. She's just like,
Do we see this? That
yes,
she's concerned.
yeah. You see, yeah. You three see, like she's very concerned.
I'm like, I like point at him and I'm just like, Warlock.
And I'm just like, you took his bread. What do you expect to happen?
To Storm, I would like to, not in my head, I would like to say I'm very worried about them right now. Because their version of fine is probably very different than our version of fine.
Yes, quite frankly, the three of them together is like giving some sort of caffeinated ale to a child and letting them run amok the streets. I think it's best if we go in there and at least perhaps we can pretend we're lost until we figure out what's going on.
Yeah.
All right. So do you two like actively go and walk in?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right. You walk through the employees only door, and you get back there, and there's a couple guards, and they see you, and they're like, "Hold up, 1 minute. What are you doing back here?"
There was a man who stole my bread, and I saw him come back this way, and I would like to speak to him. He had it in his pants.
Oh, that man. All right, well, he's right this way, and they lead you to that room.
In her mind, she says, "I can't believe that worked."
What worked?
And lo and behold, like literally, like just a couple doorways down, you see they turn and they show you in, and you see the three of them with the two guards flanking on each side and the human woman on the stage.
Well, if it isn't some more Quackers investigators, they were kind of a big thing.
The human woman, she looks at you two and says, "Are you with them?"
Yes, Lord Quacker's investigators at your service, and
We are the managers of the company.
I apologize for any.
These are our trainees. Sometimes they get a little out of, they're very excited about their job. They get a little out of hand.
We like to start them young, that way they grow into the maturity that is required for serious investigations.
Oh boy! All right. She gives you a very confused look. But with the persuasion check of them last time, that's gonna be all right. She's gonna be like, "Oh, all right. Well, have a seat." and she motions for the two guards to vacate as you're no longer suspicious people. She's still very
What is
suspicious of you, but
are they benches? Are they just like normal chairs?
They're
What's
like-
the chair?
just benches.
Cool. Storm is going to put her front hooves over the benches and like kind of plop.
Perfect. The human lady says, I apologize for the inconvenience. This room's not prepared for centaurs. I apologize.
Tyler says, no, I apologize for the interruption. As I was saying, and by the way, I'm almost done my training, but as I was saying, what exactly is it that we're looking for here? What are we helping you retrieve?
You're investigators, and yet you do not know what was stolen?
We only were informed that there was something stolen that may be related to the other two cases. So we came over here to investigate further.
I was gonna lie, but that's actually honesty is good.
You say that out loud?
Yeah.
Storm is going to start
quietly. Like a
today
little.
was your last day at Lord Quackers Investigations.
So the human lady looks at you, Storm, and just is like, is he okay?
Honestly, we're not. His father used to work for us, and yeah, family ties. This is his first week, and we're not quite sure if he seems to fit the team very well.
Tyler drops his playful attitude for a second, and then seriously looks over and is like, "You know my father?"
If you do, you have to tell me.
Storm in her mind is going to say, I know you don't understand the telepathy yet, but don't respond out loud. I'm lying. I don't know your dad. Be quiet.
Tyler nods.
Oh my god. I'm crying.
And winks.
Okay. Well, the human woman, she kind of nods at you, Storm, and says, "Very well. I suppose I should introduce myself. I run this. I'm just one of the managers here. I don't own it, but I help run it. My name is Vera. I run the East Wing, and I happened to be walking through the main entrance when I heard your friend here yelling. I've heard there's been a robbery, and we're trying to keep that on the down low. We have many investors in this place, and if any of them hear about something being stolen, they will likely pull out many of their generous donations or funds from the museum. We cannot have that. We've been saying that the thing in question has just simply been out of the exhibit for repairs and restoration. But obviously that's a lie.
Well, I did tell everyone in the room that I've got it under control, so they should be not worried anymore.
Thank you, Tyler. You said your name was Vera?
Vera, yes.
Vera?
Vera. Vear. Vera.
Cool. Vera, I'm sure my compatriots have told you, but we like to find out directly from the source what exactly was stolen and the details surrounding that. So would you mind enlightening us on what was stolen and perhaps any security measures that were around this particular item?
Yes, of course. I'm not proud to say that it was stolen from the East Wing, where I manage. But it wasn't so much an individual object. It was a tapestry of all things. It was one of the bigger tapestries at that. It was well over 30 feet long and 10 feet high. It was quite an impressive creation. It's from the early 1st century, from when this land was first discovered and colonized. But it was not really that well protected, I will admit, as the tapestry is not something someone would steal, especially not one of that size. That would require such intensive group effort, as it's certainly too heavy for any one person to carry. But it's, lo and behold, none of the security, it was just hanging where it is normally. There's a little section where it's sectioned off with just a simple rope, so that no one goes up and touches it. It is quite old, but it was just hanging there, and none of the gods that night saw anything. They all said that everything was untouched, but just that sometime in the middle of the night, the tapestry was gone. They heard no noise, nothing, and there's guards stationed in every room. There was a guard in that room, and he said he turned his back for 1 minute as he was walking across the room, and when he turned back, tapestry was gone. So however they took it.
The god's name.
The god's name? Oh, I'm sorry. The god's name was Benny.
We would like to speak to Billy after we're done with this conversation.
Oh, yes. I will call for Benny. One moment. And she steps outside and talks to one guard that's walking by, and you can hear say like request for Benny to come and join her here.
And I understand that. Sorry, there's like 4 dogs in my house right now. I understand that there was no security, particularly around the tapestry itself, but what about the security of the museum?
Well, the security of the museum is extensive. Multiple locks and keys, and some very powerful spells that prevent anyone from walking in who is not authorized. While everyone who is either a guard or one of the managers or owners of the building is certified to walk in anytime they wish.
And how will the security system authorize that?
It's a fairly simple thing. It's this fairly new thing that has been introduced. There are these little cards, and on them is just a simple inscription that, as long as they have it on their person, it would allow for them to come in. So I suppose if one of those got stolen from one of the managers or a guard, someone else could easily walk in. But
and on these inscriptions roots?
Oh no! I would say there's a similarity to the runes of the runecrafters, but this is not something that as powerful. This is just a very simple spell, something that just some of the court mages worked up. As the Duke is an investor in the museum and wanted to make sure that it was well protected, but it was simply just gone. And it's very bizarre because all the cards are accounted for. The day after we checked with all of the managers and owners and investors and guards, and everyone had their own card and knew where it was and had it on them that night. And so if someone was to use one of those, they would have had to stolen it and used it and then gotten it back to that person very quickly.
No, Vera, I don't want you to take this the wrong way. Simply, asking questions to gather all the information possible. Does anyone in the royal family have one of these cards? The Duke's son?
Well, the Duke, certainly. But no one else in the royal family.
Okay, and anyone else outside of the Duke and the employees of the museum?
Well, Mr. Karp, and there's a few other investors who are just some of the wealthier people in town. I cannot disclose all their names, but since the Duke is a very generous donor and takes pleasure in knowing that his name is associated with the museum. And Mr. Karp, you've already spoken with him, so I have no qualms with that. But I'm afraid it's a breach of privacy for me to tell you the names of our other investors.
What was on the tapestry again? Was it just the history of?
So the tapestry in question, the way she explains it is how it looks is it's essentially a battle scene. It is a scene. It's actually kind of a sad reminder of the history of the country, as it shows these heroic-looking groups of people, the colonizers, coming in, and then basically decimating some of the native people that lived here. And you all would know the native people lived here before anyone else obviously arrived. But they were not wiped out. They were not destroyed, or it was a fairly large genocide essentially of many of the natives, so that they are now they are confined to their own country, and not confined. They stay there and they don't really want to interact with the other countries, but no one goes and touches them. So, but yeah, it's kind of it's posed on the tapestry as some heroic, incredible battle, but in reality, the history of it is gruesome and sad. But it's still a very important piece of history, and so that's why it's worth a considerable amount. But I will say this is definitely it is a little strange that this would be stolen, as it's worth a lot of money, but it's not something that could be sold easily. And like this is, you all would know, just the idea of like selling something off like this would be very difficult, if not impossible, to do without someone noticing and being found out.
I asked Vera if, sorry, there's an echo coming from somewhere. I asked Vera if is there any reason besides money that someone would steal this tapestry that you're aware of?
I do not know. It is a mystery to me, as that tapestry is certainly worth a great deal, but I mean, again, it is trying to sell it to some third party would be very difficult. I do not know why someone else would steal it, aside from money. But any reason I can think of is quite honestly foolish.
Can we get the name of the person that appraised this tapestry? Like gave like history on it, and we can talk to them more to see if we can get some more clues on it.
I'm afraid that would be impossible, as the one who originally appraised it is very much dead. They passed away well before I started working here, and I've worked here for about 20 years now. And we have a general appraiser, but they haven't really touched this tapestry. This tapestry has been here for as long as this museum has been open, which has been almost about 438 years now. So it's certainly very strange, and I'm afraid I have no one that could help you in that way.
Okay.
And about this time, Benny, the guard, walks into the room. And he kind of stands and gets a very small bow to Vera. and turns to all of you and gives you all a very small bow. He says, "It's just it's a dwarven fellow. He's just standing there. Um, uh, what can I do for you? What can I do? Why am I?
We were informed that you were the guard in the hall of the stolen tapestry that night.
And he kind of hangs his head in shame a little bit. He says, "Yes, yes, I was there." And
You're not in trouble with us. That's up to your boss over there. But we would like to ask you some questions.
whatever I can do to help.
Now, would you mind walking us through what happened that night?
Yes, I can certainly do that. What happened was, I was doing my rounds. I simply walked back. I said all night. I walked back and forth across that hall, and that's what I do. And it takes me a minute to get across and a minute to go back. And occasionally I'll stop and I'll just turn, do circles, make sure everything's clear. But it would be impossible, I thought, for anyone to steal anything unless they knocked me out. And to do that, they'd have to get past all the other guards between me and the entrance. But that night, I simply went to the far end of the hall and turned back towards the western side, back towards the entrance. And as I turned and walked to the end, I stopped and then turned around, and the tapestry was gone. I didn't hear anything, and there was no signs of anyone entering or leaving. It was simply gone.
Billy, did you perhaps... It's echoing so bad. Did you perhaps feel anything? I know this sounds like an odd question, and no answer is silly or irrelevant, because perhaps somebody was using some magics.
He kind of stops and he ponders for a second, as if he's thinking back. And after a little bit, he kind of nods, and he says, "There was something very. It was just a slight tickle on the back of my neck, as if there was a small cold breeze."
Interesting. And the breeze you felt, was that before or after you noticed the tapestry was missing?
Right before.
Would it be possible for someone to have created a portal?
The Vera speaks up and says, "I suppose it's possible. We have many precautions preventing that, as we don't want just anyone teleporting in and stealing things just like that. But if there was a incredibly powerful mage, I suppose it would be possible. But it would require a very talented, impressive mage, as the mages that help create the system work for the Duke, and they're some of the best mages in the world. I'm being frank. But
Would there be any reason to suspect one of them?
oh no, they work for the Duke. They've got plenty of money, and they would have no reason. And it's the Duke gives money to the museum, and why would he want to? Why would he want to steal his own investment and lose money?
Does insurance exist in this world?
very, very different version, but it's not the same. There's no insurance in this scenario.
So this is not a case of insurance fraud.
No.
I mean,
Now, Vera, I'm going to ask you a rather perhaps uncomfortable question, and if you would like Billy, as he is one of your employees, to step out of the room, I would completely understand. Are you comfortable answering anything in front of Billy, or shall he leave?
Benny, please excuse us. We'll call for you if we need you. And Benny kind of just, again, does a little small bow and walks out of the room.
Vera, what do you know about the races? And are you involved in them in any manner? If you are, there's no judgment. Of course, we know that several of the more sophisticated and wealthy members of the society, including the Karp family and others I'm sure you're aware of, are involved in these races. And if there's a connection there, that's something that would greatly help our case.
Well, I am flattered that you think I'm that well off that I would be of such high class to partake of that, but I can't say that I'm not offended that you would ask that, as that's a very illegal and disgraceful thing to do. But I can't think of any reason why the races would have anything to do with this, as I have no part in them. And I know you're certainly right that the Duke and many other more well-to-do people are involved, but I certainly have nothing to do with those races.
Can I roll insight?
Yeah, I was going to ask the same thing.
Go right ahead.
I got an 18.
All right.
I got a 17.
All right. Did anyone else want to roll insight, or?
I rolled. Oh wait, I'm really good at insight.
I rolled a 25.
I rolled a 26.
Nice.
Ooh, nice.
All right. Well, yeah, all those are good enough. She seems on the level. She's like, you definitely believe what she's saying. So she's certainly not involved in the races.
Thank you for your candor, Vera. And again, I apologize asking such a personal and sensitive question, but any information we can get will assist us in returning your tapestry and the other stolen items.
If it will help, I understand. But I despise those races. They put a bad name on our city.
Now, is there anything else you can think of? Perhaps connections with the royal magician, the runes crafters, perhaps interest that you've noticed in the tapestry by any particular person or persons?
Well, I suppose the only thing I can think of is there was sometime like a few weeks before the robbery happened, we were graced by a rune crafter coming in and they're exploring the museum as a whole. They certainly walked through that room and they admired it, but there was no it didn't seem odd the way they looked at it or anything like that. It was just.
Is the tapestry the most valuable item in this museum?
I'm sorry, repeat the question.
Is this tapestry the most valuable item that was housed in this museum, or one of the most valuable?
It's not the most valuable. It's up there, but there's certainly about 5 or 8 more valuable things that exist in this museum.
And those other items, are they easy to carry, lightweight, small enough to fit into a pocket or folds into a bag?
Yes, absolutely. We certainly have the shield of the ancients. I'm sure you've seen it if you've come into the museum. It's one of the most prized possessions we have. It's a very ancient shield it has incredible magical properties. I could go into the history of it greatly, but it's still here. It exists, and
Did you happen to get the name of the root crafter that visited the museum?
no.
A description?
Well, it was a tall, she's a little taller than me. It was a they wore a mask, as I'm sure you know, many room crafters wear. So I'm unsure of what race they were. But they spoke with an accent of far away, a very, very different accent from what we're used to here. But they're tall and they spoke well. I know it was a woman. It had a more feminine voice. Um, that is all I. As you know, as I'm sure you know with your investigation, the runecrafters are very secretive and they don't often make public appearances like that. So I will admit, that was strange, but it's not the first time it's happened.
Well, thank you, Vera. We appreciate your willingness to work with us. And then Storm in her head is going to say, can anybody think of anything else we should ask her before excusing ourselves?
I can't think of anything really. Like, I feel like we kind of touched base on what we can. I feel like I have an idea of what kind of person we're looking for.
Where was this shield again?
Absolutely not. And then
I just want to look at it.
We may be in contact to inquire some more as we uncover more details about all three of the cases we're working on. But until then, have a lovely day, and
may Lord Quackers look over you.
Tyler walks up and puts his arm around Vera and says, I just want you to know, I've got this.
She takes your hand and just gingerly picks it up off her shoulder and just.
Vera, we do, and pardon me quoting him, but we got this.
And then Tyler flips his cape as he struts out of the room. With great confidence.
I follow, grumbling about the shield. I just wanted to look at it. I didn't want to touch it.
Yeah, Storm's gonna head out the room. She's gonna give Vera a little head bow as she walks out.
She does bow to all of you as you leave, and she does say, "Thank you. Please, yes, let me know as soon as you have any information."
Is there a desk before we leave this room?
No, there's not really a desk or anything.
Oh, okay. I leave a pamphlet on one of the benches.
All right, perfect. All right, sweet. So as you walk out, do y'all just go back into the main section of the museum?
I want to go to the area where it was where.
Yeah, Storm wants
Yeah.
to know where the tapestry was.
Perfect. All right. So you make your way there. You walk to the museum and you see many different, very neat things. And it's all pretty cool, very interesting, but you make your way to the east wing where the tapestry was. And you find the room that says tapestry. And you walk in and it's filled with tapestries. All of them are impressive, very big and very detailed and beautiful. None of them are as big as the one that was described. And in fact, you see on the main wall, there is a large empty section that clearly held a tapestry there once before.
I want to, as we're looking at it, I want to say to everyone that is like, so from what I got from that conversation is that we're possibly dealing with someone who is a descendant of a native who sympathizes with the natives or in some way, and they're upset about the history. And they somehow know about they know they were a part or is a part or know something about the rune crafters.
I think it's very interesting that all of these thefts can be tied back to the Duke and Mr. Carp in some way.
That's what I was thinking. That the Duke seems to be a little too involved in all three of these crimes. It was his magician that warded the blacksmith's smithery. It was his mages that created the security system for this here museum, and the Duke and Mr. Cup are both deeply involved in the races.
The thing is that why would the Duke steal his son's sword?
Was
Not
anyone
sure
else thinking
why yet.
that a bear could be involved?
Tyler, I think you've killed all the bears east of the river.
Possible.
Why don't you go look outside and see if you can find any?
On it. And then Tyler walks up.
Okay, good.
I'm unsure of the reasoning, but I do think that enough coincidences that involve the Duke have been uncovered. Perhaps we need to speak to him, and I believe the best way in doing that in a location which he would trust us more is getting involved in the races.
Yes.
I agree. I don't know if I necessarily believe that he's the one doing all of these crimes, but it would make sense if it's somebody who has a vendetta against him for some reason.
He's somehow connected to them.
Yes, he's definitely.
It's definitely probably a good idea to go over there because we might get a clue on what could possibly get hit next.
Yes.
As you were all discussing this, Benny, the dwarven guard, walks up to you all, kind of sheepishly. He says, I'm terribly sorry.
Oh, Billy!
I
Tell
didn't.
us what you know.
I didn't share everything I knew in that room. I couldn't, not in front of her.
Well, go ahead.
There was more that happened that night. As soon as I noticed it was stolen, I raised the alarm and we searched, and I ran outside to see if perhaps they had already escaped. And I saw someone fly off, just with a large bag on their side, and they just flew with the magic, and they flew off towards the mountain.
Towards the mountain?
Wings?
No,
Or were they...
they just they just took off and flew without wings. It looked like a normal person, and they took off towards the mountains. And
Billy, do you know of anything in the mountains? Perhaps any legend or lore that's you've heard around, perhaps in a tavern? Anything that perhaps could be in the mountains?
not that I know of. I know I've certainly heard of various things being out there, but I don't know. And so the mountains outside the city, to kind of give you an idea of what it looks like. Let me had to pull up the picture. But this is what it looks like. This is just kind of what it looks like outside, and there's some very big woods that are just out the base. There's a large forest that's at the base of the mountains on the city, outside the city. And he says they just took off in that way, and I don't. That's all I saw.
Isn't the Colosseum in the woods?
The Colosseum was more. It's like out that way-ish, but it's more in this kind of valley. There's a big canyon that's also outside the city, but it's more towards the northwest. The mountains are more to the northeast.
Is there anything else you couldn't tell us in front of her, Billy?
That was it. I just knew if I saw someone and they escaped, I would have lost my job.
Yes, I understand. And your job is secure. We will not be telling Vera that you witnessed anyone fleeing the scene.
Thank you. I greatly appreciate it. And he kind of looks around a little bit more and kind of skirts off.
Billy?
Oh, yes, I'm sorry.
If you wouldn't mind, keep an eye and an ear out while you're at work. Anything you hear, whether it's from another guard, from Vera herself, we'll stop by and visit you. If you would let us know if anything even slightly suspicious, something that feels just a little strange, we want to know.
Okay, I will do that.
Or you can come to the Church of Quackers and just state your request there, and we will soon find it.
Where's the Church of Quackers?
Do you know where the chicken god's temple is?
Oh, yeah, it's the massive temple on the God's Lane.
Down to the left.
Okay. Okay, yes. I think I can find that easier. I will certainly find you if there's anything.
I know. I give him a pamphlet.
He takes it and he thumbs through it and actually looks genuinely curious about what's inside. And he said, "Thank you very much. I hope you'll find out who took it." And he gives you all a bow and walks off, reading the pamphlet.
As he walks off, Storm's going to look at everyone and goes, "I love that little dwarf. I think he's the cutest thing I've ever seen."
Oh, I thought I was the cutest thing you ever seen.
Dolf, you don't have a stutter. That's adorable.
I can. No, it doesn't work.
It doesn't work. I'm very sorry. Storm wants to do like an Arcana check in the area. She wants to see if she can pick up any like lingering magic, whether it's like the blink spell, like demi portals, any kind of interdimensional, anything that could have made something easy to like zip.
All right. You can go ahead and do that. I will let you know. It's been a month since the robbery, so it's going to be hard. It's going to be a very difficult check.
I have so many tabs open. I got an 18.
I mean, you feel presence of magic coming from throughout the museum. There's a lot of ancient magical artifacts here. And you feel some of these tapestries definitely have some magic about them, but none that feel like it would be conjuration magic.
Okay.
And now we return to Tyler. Tyler, you've walked out of the museum and into the central courtyard.
Yeah.
When you begin to hear screams and yells, and in the middle of the courtyard, as people are running away and kind of screaming, and guards are kind of panicking, you see a traveling circus has accidentally let their bears escape. And that's where we're going to leave it off for next time.
No, you can't just let loose the bears. You can't just.
You know he's gonna kill them. You're gonna die.
You
about to die.
Tyler's killing all the bears east of the river.
Whose fault is it? Is this Lyra's fault or is this Storm's fault?
Lyra told him to go outside with the bears.
This is Lyra's fault.
Lyra,
I
this
just
is.
told him to go outside. I didn't think there would be actual bears outside.
And I think technically I'm with Tyler. I don't think I went to the tapestry room with the rest of you.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so you see that as well.
Their murder.
Oh yeah, you both are there.
Yeah,
Oh,
I think I walked in. Oh god.
Oh my god.
I stayed with the smart people.
The allegiance has changed. Dolf is realizing.
I mean, I just stayed because I was told to go outside, so I'm good.
And that is the end for tonight. Thank you all again for joining us, those of you who are watching us on Twitch. If you missed some of it, the whole thing will be up on YouTube tomorrow on our channel, Misty Mountain Legends. And yeah, thank you guys so much for joining us, and thank you to you 5 wonderful people for being the players. And we'll see everyone next month. End of this month. We'll post more details.
We'll see. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
I hope you all have a wonderful night, and we'll see you all next time.